Historically, we have students' politics aligned in different clusters of association. People belong somewhere. People in, let's say, we can take a case study of Makerere University, belong to different halls of residence, belong to different associations, they belong to different thinking lines, they belong to different schools of background. So in the process of playing out the politics, the political dispensation has been one where it is met with a lot of conflicts between these very many competing interests I have just lined out. And when we cannot find a nexus, when we cannot find a meeting point of these competing interests, which has been the point for a long time, then we cannot avoid there being toxicity in politics. We have halls that have for a long time mastered the art of calling the shots, being the superpowers at the alma mater. We have Lumumba Hall, together with Mary Stewart, they make the Lumumba Solidarity. We have Mitchell Hall, which teams with Complex to make Michelex. We have Afrostone, we have North Court in Nkuruma and Sibirwa. These people want to all be seen as the people calling the shots. They want to be seen as being at the helm of running the day-to-day activities of students in Makerere. Therefore, whenever they crash, we always have some kind of debacle and impasse, which results into toxicity in politics. However, we should know that very many other factors contribute to that, which include a poor administration, at least as of now, which has totally suffocated all the civic space that is available for the students to ease off their frustrations, to ease off their grievances. Throughout the world, students' movements have been recognized as drivers of national politics, and therefore national political parties are inevitably always going to engage in politics. However, what is essential is how they engage. They are supposed to come with mentorship, they are supposed to come with capacity building, they are supposed to come with decorum. They are not supposed to come, on the other hand, with compromisation, they are not supposed to come with violence, they are not supposed to come with excess of force. Let political parties in institutions of higher learning engage as though they were bleeding nursery beds for people who will be political leaders later on. We have, in, for example, Makerere University, a number of chapters. The NRM has an NRM chapter in Makerere. The FDC has a chapter in Makerere. DP has its youth wing, the UID, operating actively in Makerere. These are not bad things. Essentially, they are things that are supposed to guide, because even the leaders of today were once students and they had such formations. Therefore, what should be the point of contention about the role of political parties is necessarily on how they engage and not on whether they should engage or not. That they should engage, they are going to keep engaging. But the how is what is supposed to change. The role, the actual role of political parties in students' politics is not supposed to be division in the students' body. It is supposed to be identification of belonging and also nurturing of ideology, so that at the end of the day, when a person is graduating from Makerere or from the institution they are in, their party can already see a leader in them who they can deploy in any position anywhere, and they say, we trust a person who is there because they have had time with them in these institutions and they have mentored them. When you look at politicians of some time before now, when we look at the 6th Parliament, when you look at the 7th Parliament, all the most vibrant people of those parliaments were fresh graduates from Makerere University, who were given a platform by the parties of then to nurture them into now the strongmen. After we unfortunately saw an incident of one student dying from the political campaigns, the university sat and passed resolutions that, in its best knowledge, or at least to my take, the lack of it, they think is going to help bridge the situation by calming down all the competing pressures from the very many different players involved. But instead, I see it as a move that could very easily go the wrong way, the other way around. Because and that has been part of the problems, like I had just said, the poor administration, which completely suffocates civic space for students to ease off their frustrations and grievances. Now, when after such an incident, fine, you can terminate the guild electoral process that has been ongoing, that's reasonable. But when you start to say that you're terminating guild leadership totally and indefinitely, meaning there is no guild president, there is no guild speaker, there is no guild representative councillor, either at hall level or at school level. You go as far as suspending indefinitely and totally senior common room leaderships at hall levels. There is no chairperson of hall, there is no minister, there is no health minister at hall to even give simple casual medicines to the students once we have an emergency. We have no faculty presidents, we have no faculty leadership. That means that the administration has suspended the university in a situation of anarchism where we have no one giving the direction, there are no leaders, and it works for them because they can use this to pass any policy they wish, since there is no students' representation that is quelling it. But don't forget that this is on top of the very many bad connotations we can attach to it. It is also illegal because the section in the Public Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act that provides for the students' representative on University Council is a mandatory provision. It says there shall be, in section 38, subsection 1 and paragraph L, they say there shall be students' representatives on council who shall be nominated by the Students' Council. Therefore, that means that council should never sit to talk about anything in the absence of students' representatives. So the resolutions are archaic, they are dilapidated, they are out of shape, they show total lack of desire for the administration to work with students in bridging a solution to the current goings on, and they also show the lack of the spirit from the administration to engage students, even let alone this that has just happened. Thinking moving forward, this is going to set a very, very bad precedent. Don't forget that it does not stop at Makerere University. Makerere University is a driver of all institutions of higher learning. Everyone does what happens there. So if they can see that Makerere University can ably suspend and disband the operations of the Students' Guild, then we could in the near future, in the very, very near future, see Chambogo taking it on, we could see MUST taking it on, we could even see private institutions start to take it on. What is the fate of students? Students are the greatest stakeholders in the university. If you have 45K or 40K students, or even 50K in some incidences, and they are represented by just 2 representatives on council, where council makes decisions by way of voting, the students' violence in Makerere, especially as relating to electoral processes, can be curbed down in a number of pragmatic ways. Number 1, we can reduce the students' engagement in these electoral campaigns. And how shall we do that? We stop holding campaigns, rallies, we go for the debate way. We go for exchange of ideas. The moment we make this race about ideas and not about noise and numbers and crowds, then it will mean that it is no longer relevant how many people followed me or shouted my name. What is relevant is the capacity that can come out of my mouth. Therefore, if we make this debate-centered, instead of having 4 rallies and 4 debates, let us have 8 debates or 6 debates, and we don't have a rally at all, so that we don't create a room for these students to actively meet each other in these political engagements. And that is 1. 2, let us go virtual. Instead of having these physical, rallies, debates, even when we are having the debate, let us go virtually. Let us create a link, let these people debate, let them be followed. Let us avoid these people having to meet for the political engagement. Number 3, and which is for me very terminal, is to extend the tenure of the guild. We have a perennial problem that we have been having where the guild presidency is a tenure of 1 year. When it is a tenure of 1 year, and actually it stretches to only, I think, up to 9 months, it bars cohesion and continuity. In the 9 months, a guild government does not have to put something on table and finish it. They cannot be able to accomplish all the tasks that they had accounted to the students' body that they would accomplish. And also on top of that, students keep meeting quite often. The moment an election process ends, another one quickly begins, because in the next 1 year, we are going to have another election. So very quickly, when this election ends, in the next week or 2, candidates for the other start stemming up and the political activity is on again. But if we said the guild tenure is 2 years, so that if we vote today for the next 2 years, we are not going to have this political activity. Then we can have maybe mid-term elections at lower levels, at hall levels, at faculty levels. But when the guild is a 2-term mandate for 2 years, so that we now reduce the political activity. We ensure that when a person comes in, the next political activity will happen after 2 years. And also that way we shall have given the guild governments an opportunity to foster continuity, so that when they start on a project, they have time to finish it, other than starting on a project and they don't have time to finish it, and another guild that comes in comes with different agenda. Makerere students, Makererians, should know that this is a moment for them to define a bigger picture. The Makererians that subsist today think this is about suspending guild operations today. But once this precedent is set, it means even tomorrow and the next day and the next year and in 10 years from now, this precedent can still hold water. Tomorrow, something will happen and the administration will quickly rub away the students' leadership. So for me, to Makererians, this is something you should take on legally. This is something that has substance before any court of law under a judicial review matter. Anyone will see that what they did is outside the law. Section 38, subsection 1, paragraph L is very mandatory, and lack of observance of the same should amount into an ultra-vires process. Therefore, I advise Makererians to take on a court process to challenge those resolutions. But on top of that, I also encourage them to still leave any room for negotiation. If the Vice Chancellor is not a person you can negotiate with, there are people in the administration that can always have a listening ear. Because it is one thing going to court and restoring the operation of the guild, and it is another thing making sure that that guild is impactful and it has reasonable meaning, because the administration can very easily sideline that guild even when you have restored it through a court process. So in the meantime, as we are chasing a court process, negotiations should be furthered with any other open ear in the administration to ensure that even when the court process yields success, there is a starting point for a cordial relationship between the guild and the administration. Otherwise, the guild can be restored and be sidelined. I hope that politics stays politics of ideas, not politics of numbers and politics of noise and politics of cynicism. We stop the politics of everything goes. We start the politics of the ideas that can transmogrify and transform the society of Makerere University.